Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. See, change is one of those things that's necessary in life. It's the process of life, right? Yet the notion of this is so difficult to grasp sometimes because change never looks the same. There's no template for it or a schedule for what happens and when it happens. It just happens at what seems to always be at the right time. Being honest, I've struggled with this before in the past because change has always made me uncomfortable. It's something that I've tried to prepare for, but never knew how because I wasn't quite sure what changes to prepare for, if that makes any sense. I felt like a deer in headlights. Okay, what do I do, right? But that's the thing about life. It's so unpredictable at times. So how can we really prepare for that? I mean, there are some things that I've learned on my own journey about life, like understanding that being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable in regards to change is a good thing. Because in this space of feeling uncomfortable is where you really start to grow in your life and making that transition towards living instead of just existing. My life is just spinning like Ferris wheels, hoping that the next time I come around, I'll see a different view. But habits don't change unless you want them to. Do I want them to? See, I'm just a man, torn between life and living, and honestly, I'm not sure which of the two I most value. See, when change happens in our life, on the surface, we're quote unquote comfortable with the idea of it, right? It's good to mix it up sometimes. But deep inside, we're actually feeling frantic, worried, uncomfortable, and trying to convince ourselves otherwise. See, the questions we need to face the mirror and ask ourselves are, why am I struggling with change? And what can I do to position myself to handle change better? And the first reason we feel this way or are struggling with this is because we don't have a why. I've talked about this a lot throughout my content already, but I keep coming back to it because it's such a key piece in this puzzle. See, when you know why you're doing something or want to be doing something, it then doesn't take much motivation to continue at it. So for example, if you were to personally ask me why minimalism, my first response wouldn't be because I owned too much stuff. Although yes, I had way too much stuff, I actually tell you it's because I wanted to reinvent myself first. Or if you were to ask me what is my why in life, my mantra, I tell you it's to always stay true to myself. See, and because I know this, it makes growing comfortable with change easier, right? And then when all of these adjustments start to happen, I know it's an opportunity for me to grow and learn on my journey. So if you don't have a solid why in your life, I really want to encourage you to dig deeper than surface level and really figure out what it is for you. The second thing is the word but has become our best friend. Often when change happens or an opportunity for change arises, the word but is the first to roll off of our tongue, which means there's an excuse coming next, right? So I love to do this, but it makes me uncomfortable. Or wow, I can really see myself making this change in my life, but it's hard for me to stay motivated. See, we have to face the mirror again and have an honest conversation with ourselves about our relationship with the word but, because oftentimes this one word is the only thing that's holding us back. Number 3 is our lack of self-belief. Simply put, you have to believe in yourself, and I have to believe in myself. We have to believe that we're capable of doing or learning how to do whatever it is that we want to do. And this continued drive for knowledge plays a big role in the outcome of your situation. So the more you know and the more you're willing to learn, the more you grow, right? And the more you grow, the more confident and comfortable you become during times of change. Number 4 is our fear of opinions and judgment. Worrying ourselves about what others may say or think is one of the biggest hindrances to positive change in our life. And I'm saying this because I've done it. I've had those conversations in the back of my head. I've felt that fear and unsureness, but I've also been able to make a shift in my way of thinking. And if you haven't seen or read any of my poetry, I highly recommend you checking out 2 of them, Black Boy and Fear. Because in those 2 pieces, I really feel like I expressed this change both physically, mentally, and emotionally for myself on my own journey. I'll leave a link to both of them down below in the description box. If you watch them and they resonate with you, please let me know. But if you're enjoying this conversation so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up for me. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm really glad to have you here, and I hope you're enjoying this conversation as well. Okay, the last point I want to mention for why we struggle with change is because we're stuck in our comfort zone. In other words, we're afraid to challenge ourselves in fear of making a mistake, of failing, of feeling discouraged, of losing motivation, and the list can go on. But I'm telling you, coming from someone who is in the midst of pushing the boundaries of his comfort zone, this, just like the fear of opinions and judgment, is a hindrance. And I've learned that in order to expand the boundaries of a comfort zone, or to grow, or to change, we have to be willing to learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortable moments outside of our comfort zone. I really hope this conversation made you think. If it did, embrace those thoughts. Let's continue this conversation down below, and always remember to stay true to you. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.